Okay, let's go back to where we were sitting. So we were having a conversation about. Okay, we were playing out what it was that I might say to my parents. So where were we?
Well, we were talking about the different ways that we could come out. How do we present it? So, in this case, selfishly, or not selfishly, but self-preservingly, I'm perhaps a little concerned that if you were to introduce it as though it happened since you've been with me or because of me, that your mother, whoever, I was going to say your mother, but they might have some estimation that I was corrupting you, that it was, our good little Catholic girl was doing fine until she met this guy, and now he's bringing her down this, perverted rabbit hole. So
I agree.
So if you were to say something that and if you tell me if this is not accurate, but if you felt as though you've always been something other than monogamous, if you felt as though there was this poly way of being that was more apt to who you were, better suited for who you were, are you now being more of your true authentic self? So in the past, I didn't have a language for polyamory or whatever it is that I'm living now, but I was kind of enacting it by either being with somebody and having fantasy about being with somebody else, or being with somebody and then just going out and finding ways around it. In other words, cheating.
Right. But I don't think I ever felt that way though.
With you rather, I feel that I'm able to be me. I can be the way that I am in a more honest and open way. And that makes me feel better about myself because I'm not denying myself or living a lie and deciding for other people.
Yeah, so I don't necessarily feel though that that's my circumstance. So I don't know, if I can say that, this is me. I think this opened up an idea that I wasn't aware of, and I've certainly been in situations where, it has been non-monogamous, and I've had relationships, but those relationships, as you know, that relationship, wasn't of my choice, and I didn't want that at that time, or I didn't think I wanted that at that time. So I want to, I know I want to focus on the positive things. I don't want to make you look bad. So I get the idea about, making it focused on me. So we were talking about how we're going to role play it, right? So should we start? Let's try role playing it again.
But what's also interesting though is the way that, you say, you wouldn't want to make me feel bad, as though this way of being, this choice, if you want to call it, or this orientation, is in any way considered to be corrupt, as though there's a moral attachment. So it's better if you're monogamous and worse if you're polyamorous. But who's to say that it is one way better or the other? If it works for you, if it helps you to feel more of whatever it is you're wanting to feel, then shouldn't that be a good thing regardless of what it is? It's just that moral attachment.
I know.
Okay, so how do you go about letting it be known when you're finally wanting to let it be known?
Okay.
And your motive for wanting to say is that you don't want anybody else to tell them first, so that they might have questions or misunderstandings or feel as though you'd not been forthcoming with them. Right. So
I want to control the message. I want to be the message, and I know that I'm not fully getting out there in what I'm doing right now in my coaching because I'm sort of hiding that bit.
Right, so you're closeted.
Because it's not the people that are in our groups and that, that we interact with know, but it's how a friend of mine was saying to me, she doesn't really know what I do. And I was like, well, that's because I'm not really specific in some of those public forums, but I'd like to be, because I think I'll be more likely to be able to help more people, and I just want to be me, but I want to control the message. So we were talking before we put the video on. We were talking about how I might do this, right, and how I might start. So we were playing it out.
But I want to know. So you have an idea that they might have some type of maybe misconception because they're not in that. It's not really in part of their venue, right? They don't maybe know about it, or maybe have misconceptions or ideas about it. So there's some idea that they might not want it for you because they might think that it's harmful to you in some way, or that it's in some way going to be
I'm going to get hurt. I think they're going to think that, oh, here's Tara again settling for something that she doesn't really want because she's so in love with somebody that she can't see that true person and what they're doing to her. I don't want them to be, because that's not the case. I'm super happy. I've never been happier in my entire life.
But if you were in a monogamous relationship, then all those considerations be
Well, of course
expelled.
not. Of course not. I've been in so many monogamous relationships
Right. So
that
being a monogamy doesn't
they'll be the first to say that.
doesn't
You
take
know,
away
I
from
haven't
this.
had successful relationships. Well, I mean, where you told me that, of course, I've had successful relationships. The ones that weren't successful ended,
Mhm.
right? So we were sort of playing out if I started with what I'm doing, like my relationship coaching and what.
Okay. So
What
that's
I'm
your
doing then.
that's your
So-
segue.
So that is one method. So
Okay,
we had
intro.
started that. We had started that.
Okay. So I'll be your parents, and you be you.
Okay.
Okay. So.
So and you just be you. Like, I don't want us to remember that the camera's on. We're
Okay.
just trying to let's continue the conversation we were
All right.
having.
So hi Tara. I'm so glad you called. What's going on, honey?
You said, "Oh, you wanted because I'm gonna have to set up a Zoom call or something." No, you said something like, "Oh, you wanted to talk about something. What is
Right,
it?"
yeah. Oh, hi, honey. It's so nice to hear from you. You know, you said you wanted to speak to me and mom. Like, what's going on?
Well, I just wanted to talk with you because I know you know that I've started doing some coaching, specifically around relationships. But I wanted to tell you a bit more about the type of people that I support. See, I don't know if I want to start like that, because like once you go there, then it's going to be like, why wouldn't I just say like, I want to tell you that?
Well,
I guess we could do both.
do you want to do that? Do you want to just dive into it and say, you know, I want you to know from me rather than you hearing about it from anybody else. I'm in a poly-open relationship, and I choose to be in it because it suits me at this time. It fits me. It's who I want to be. I'm safe and loving it, and
Like, can I say, you know,
do you
that
have a
I love, like, you didn't want me to use your name though.
you can
You know
use
that
mine.
I love Andre so much, and that we've been in a relationship for 3.5 years, and it's like been the happiest I've been in my entire life. It's like I've never communicated so much with anybody, and been more myself and open and honest and all that with somebody, and I just adore him. Oh my God, you're so cute. Can I kiss you?
You're nervous?
I'm nervous.
Are you getting nervous? Yeah, there's that kiss helping to take away some of your nervousness.
Can you be on the call? Can you be on the call?
You want me to be on there too? I'm sure your mother would love that.
Oh God, no.
No?
I think it's a bad idea.
Do you want me, maybe I should call your parents?
No. Anyways, if I started
So-
like that,
Letting them know that you're happy and you're making your own choices.
you know that I'm super happy.
Do they know that?
I don't know.
Did they ever say it? Did they ever comment saying that they think
No.
you're happier? No?
I don't know. No, I don't think so.
Oh, I'm lucky. My mother tells me that she
I
thinks
don't
I'm
think.
very happy.
Yeah, but your mom sees us more.
That's true too.
They don't see us interact.
Okay.
Because
So-
somebody I know doesn't come to family events. Well, there hasn't been any in the year. You've been to a couple.
Okay. So what I'm hearing is that you're wanting to be transparent. You're wanting them to know so that way it frees you to do other things in your life.
Yeah.
You can go about your ways. But you're also possibly concerned that they might think that you are somehow being coerced into it or not fully aware of it, or that there's possible consequences and repercussions to it, that you're concerned that they might be concerned for you, that they are in some ways alerted to the idea of what is this polyamory thing and is it really in your best interest?
Right. But I think I like better starting from the, like, you know, that I'm happy. And
Okay, so
so then
yes,
I
we-
said that, yeah.
So we see you're very happy. That's wonderful, honey. We want you to be happy.
Mm-hmm. So there's something I want to tell you, though, about our relationship.
What's that, honey?
Well, it's not, no, I don't know.
It's not conventional. It's not.
It's not a conventional.
It's not like your marriage.
It's not a conventional relationship where, you know, it's not a conventional relationship where we only see each other. We have a, what I say, like, they're not going to know what polyamorous is, because they're going to think of polygamy, and I don't want them to think it's polygamy, because that's different.
It is much different. Much different.
And I don't think they'll have ever heard the term polyamorous. So I just say, like, we have a more of an open relationship.
An agreement.
An agreement? No, we have an open relationship. So, you know, it's called polyamory. It's basically where you have the ability to love multiple people. So we do see other people. Would I say together and apart? Or does that seem weird? Like they're really like oh, is that swingers? Are you swingers? It's like, yeah, we're sometimes swingers, but we do date. When I say we date other people, we have loving relationships with others. I don't know, like loving friendships. Like,
do we know what we mean by polyamory? Because like you say, we are sometimes swingers,
mm-hmm.
and but I wonder if swinging is more like the weekend activity, but being polyamory is almost like an orientation, right? It's a philosophical point of view that you could love somebody else while still loving me, and it doesn't detract from how much you love me or take away. In fact, it might even add to our relationship, right? You go get stimulation from other people intellectually, sexually, emotionally, whatever it might be, and that we come back feeling as though it hasn't taken away, but in a way added to our relationship.
Well, that was very eloquent. I'd like to be able to say it that way. Well, now I have a recording.
But say it from your heart and feeling. No, this is not recording.
It's not? I just don't know how to do it without, like, I think I'm going to be quite nervous.
Okay, so you're nervous.
So I just come out with it and just say, you know.
What's driving the nervousness? What do you think is the anticipation?
I'm worried that there's a couple things. Like, I'm worried that they're going to think differently of you. Mm-hmm. I'm not really so worried about what they think about me, maybe a little bit, but I don't want them to think ill of you.
Mm-hmm. But don't they already? I mean, your mother already has her opinions of me. I'm too old for you, and... Oh,
she said that once. That was so stupid.
For those of you who don't know, I'm old enough to be Tara's brother. So. Or dirty uncle.
Ew, gross.
Yeah. So your mother has an estimation of me that's accurate, inaccurate. It's lower than what you might ideally want. So what?
But I feel like they don't know you and to be the loving person that you are, and how much capacity you have to love and how much capacity we have to love as people. So we do have other relationships with people that, like, loving and friendship relationships.
Would it be helpful then to let them know that you feel as though you are with somebody who sees you and loves you and appreciates you and wants the best for you?
Yeah, and you said before about support. I've never had such a supportive and loving partner as I had with you. And
ditto for me. And also, one of the added benefits of being with you and being in a relationship like this is I can be honest with myself. Also with you, of course, but even with myself, I don't have to deny the desires and the longings that I was once having, and finding fault with myself if I gave into that fantasy or took action to it, thinking that I wasn't somehow perverted or wrong or corrupt in wanting these other things. So it's the self-acceptance and the idea of being transparent and honest with others, but with myself primarily, feeling as though I am loved for who I am, just like that. And you do give me that feeling, and that creates a bond and a closeness that I've never known. And it's awesome. You start crying on me?
No.
You're so cute.
I just want to be able to say it like that. I feel like I'm just gonna get all like blah, 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 and say the wrong thing and like say stupid things. Like if they start to ask questions, like I know that I have to be open that there's gonna be some questions. Mm-hmm. Like I don't think I'm gonna go into the details of what we actually do.
No, not necessarily.
But I mean, if they ask, I would answer them. Like I'll just say, if you have any questions, just ask. But I just.
And I think also for many people, the idea of promiscuity comes to mind, right?
Yeah.
So does it mean that you're promiscuous and you are automatically, which you might be, but I mean, is that one of their concerns? You want to bring in the safety factor. I mean, Tara and I get STI tested on a regular basis, and I think we are possibly more alerted than we were previously. In the past, I might have gotten tested once in a while, but now I'm hypersensitive to it, and I feel it's kind of like responsibility to myself, to you, and the community. I don't know if that factors in. Maybe that's too much information for them in the intro call.
So what do you think? What do you think the and then I could say that part of what I'm doing is helping people also navigate non-monogamy and deal with things like jealousy and that sort of thing. And I would explain them the idea of compersion? Sure.
Yeah, compersion is good. I think the idea that we might come to a place of being able to normalize it and accepting for ourselves, and when we arrive at that place, then we can help it to become normalizing to other people. can you suspend the idea of judgment?
Yeah. So the next thing I'm thinking they're going to think is then if other people find out that it might reflect on them.
Mm-hmm. Their daughter the slut.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of the next thing. Like she's going to say like, well, I hope you don't, advertise that this is what you do, or, like.
So again, that comes to the question of judgment and morality.
Mm-hmm.
As though this way of being is in any way perverse or corrupt, right? That you are going to like almost be given permission. Okay, go ahead and do it, but can you keep it on the down low, please? Because it's embarrassing or dirty.
Mm-hmm.
Is that right?
Yeah. That was be my next worry. Well, what will people think?
So you're wanting to
that they're
protect
gonna
them?
think. No, I think that that's gonna be their next thing.
Okay, so what might people think?
That their daughter's slutty and that they didn't raise me well, or like all kinds of things. Like they didn't raise me I'm immoral.
Okay, so
like that's their own judgment. I know that's their own judgment on it, but
yeah.
I would not want them to feel like they will be judged by what
Sure.
I do.
But it's interesting though, because you are a very giving, loving, charitable, considerate person. So all of those things, all the way that we've known you for all these years, you've been loving, charitable, considerate, compassionate. But now, if you were sexually to decide or emotionally decide that you were going to be involved with more than one person simultaneously, all of that of your character is now dismissed as though you are no longer this loving, charitable, considerate, compassionate person?
Well, when you say it like that, it seems ridiculous. But like,
well, could you ask them? You know me. Maybe even set them up. Say, listen, I have to make a profile of myself. Would you say this is an accurate picture of me, that I am loving, considerate, respectful, compassionate, all those things? And when they will unanimously agree, no doubt, you say, well, would any of that change if you were to know that I was a dirty old whore?
Oh. This is hard. Because it does have impacts beyond me. But I mean, like I do hear, like I follow a lot of people on social media and people who are out there, and they do talk about this in terms of what their families think and all that, and like some of them, the families are very supportive, and some of them like are supportive and don't agree. Like it's not that they're not going to love me, because they'll still love me, but just like they weren't happy that we did a little safe weekend away. It's like, well, I still love you was the statement that was made, and it's like, oh, well, you mean you might not? Like
the conditions of love.
The conditions of love.
It's interesting. It makes me think back to when people, come out as being gay, and how they would have to have that conversation, and that somebody who might not be aware of the interest of it might say, well, why would anybody want to be gay? As though it's a choice, right?
Right.
And the counter is, well, yeah, why would I want to be gay, seeing how difficult it is to be that way? So.
And it's like, why do we even have to come out? Like it's so like nobody comes out as straight.
Right.
Nobody comes out as monogamous, but we have to come out as something different. Right. Not that coming out as gay is any way similar to coming out as polyamorous. It has a lot more history and a lot more things, persecution and stuff like that. But the fact that we actually have to, because it has to do with our sexuality, or our erotic diversity or whatever, it's like we have to make a pronouncement of it because it's different. Like, why are those things different? And why are they less moral or less, like there's associations attached to them that people attach like moral things, and people are persecuted for, well, not so much for being polyamorous, I don't think, but if you're gay or lesbian or whatever. I don't know. I feel like I have to get it over with.
So what about the worst case scenario? So you call them up and you say, I want to tell you something, I'm polyamorous, and you try and give them some concise definition or explanation as to what it means for you. What's the worst case scenario? What might they say? We don't accept this, and we forsake you, and we are going to
no, they're not going to do that.
You?
But they might say that they're disappointed in me.
Disappointed in you for allowing more love into your life, that you should have less love.
I know, it seems crazy.
Well, no, but it's a possibility. They may not fully understand. It's not just your parents; it's people in general. They may have their own ideas of what it entails, and there may be consequences to this that they see and appreciate, and are wanting to perhaps protect you, or they have their own moral judgments and estimations of it, whatever it is. So, what happens if it does go south then?
I don't know.
Well, you mentioned the idea of going on this trip. They would not have necessarily given their blessings to it.
Mm-hmm.
And I say blessings because of the Christian connotation. But anyway, they might not have been on board with it, but you did it regardless.
Yeah.
Well, are you going to live your life? Are you going to live the approval of others?
Mind session.
It's a tough conversation to have.
But it's true. But I'm like, why am I making such a big deal about it? I feel like
because
they almost
because of the way we've been brought up to believe that it was that. But it's.
But it's like they shouldn't be surprised.
No.
If I said but you and I have an open relationship, like I could probably even just say it like that.
Yeah.
Like, and it's a choice that I made. You know what I mean? Like I could keep it really super simple instead of getting into all this like other shit. Like, right?
Maybe. So how would it be to say it just like that then, in a very matter-of-fact, concise kind of way? Hey guys, how's it going? I'm polyamorous. What's going on?
I don't know. Why am I making such a big... It's not a big deal, actually. It's so little. It should not be a big deal.
But it is. But analytically, it can be argued that they already know, right? On some level?
Yeah. Well, they knew my previous, like one of my best friends, that
right.
they...
Your relationship with him
yeah.
was rather open.
Yeah, because we weren't boyfriend. They knew we weren't boyfriend and girlfriend, but I stayed over there and spent a lot of time with them, which they didn't agree to or didn't like. I know my mother was very verbal about that, but then completely changed her tune when that person was totally there for me in a loving and supportive way when I had my back surgery back in 2014. Like came and visited me and took care of me and like helped make me, helped keep me happy when it was a very unhappy time. And so then had a totally new view of that person because of that. But when, I was just going over there and, staying over, they had no clue what our relation, like he would come to family events with me, was lovely, such a good friend, but didn't agree with it then until like something changed. I don't know. I just don't want them to think ill of you. I love you so much and I love our relationship and this is exactly as I would want things to be, and I don't, it's like I want to protect you a bit. I'm less worried about what they think about me. I'm worried about what they're going to think about you, and I'm also worried that they feel it's going to be, because of their moral upbringing, they're going to think it's a reflection on them if I'm more public about it. Because it is going to become more public. It's going to be harder to hide that this is what we're doing. Because we are becoming more of a public figures, and
it's interesting speech though, the speech that we use, that it's going to be harder to hide, as though again it's implicit or it's rather automatic that we should have to hide this. As you say, we would not have to hide our being straight or monogamous.
Exactly.
Well, if we are brave enough to go forward and announce it just as it is in a very matter-of-fact kind of way, does it kind of take away
the power?
Right, exactly. Does it then kind of dispel this notion that it could only be one way? If it's said in a very matter-of-fact way, could that be accepted?
So what if I didn't make a big deal of it and like say I have to talk to you about something and arrange a Zoom call? Instead just like call them up on the phone, talk to my mom, and then have her tell my dad. Which is what often happens.
Is it your dad that's harder to speak to?
It's interesting. I speak to my mom more, but she tells me that he has thoughts about things that he never tells me. Like only once in a while do I have, like I don't have a lot of, like I talk to my mom more. Like my dad's like always like, oh here, talk to your mother. Your mother wants to talk to you. You know what I mean? So even though I feel like she's the harsher critic, she's the one that I would normally talk to.
So it's
Maybe I
interesting.
should just talk to my dad and then get him to tell my mom, because part of me thinks he'd be more open to it, but part of me doesn't know if he really keeps things inside that he thinks.
Mm-hmm.
Like when he first met you, like when you went to the anniversary party, he was like, "Oh, that Andre, what a lovely man." Like he was so helpful, and because you were like doing all these things, you'd never met them before, and you were like helping me, and he could see that. Like he totally saw that you were there for me and for my sister, and to make sure everything was going well for their party. Like that's what he saw. You know, so maybe I should tell him and get him to tell my mom, and then her call me and yell at me.
And what did your mother see? What was her comment? Come on, tell us.
He's a little old.
A little too old.
Which is really funny because I
She's
thought you looked
ageist.
super hot and great.
Yeah, but I was too old.
You were dressed in your beautiful suit. I have a picture. It's up on the picture from that day. It's like up on there with my other bestie.
But too old. Not too old to do all the work, but just too old for you.
I don't think she said too old. I think she said, "Oh, he's a little older."
She got
I
that
should
right.
never
I
have
am.
told you that, because now it's tarnished your view of her.
No, it's fine. It's good. Well, listen, so maybe your mother and I don't have the warmest, fuzziest of relationships yet. So she might think that I've in some way influenced or corrupted you. And what of that? Can you
I love the way you corrected me.
can you withstand my reputation being tarnished?
Should I tell her the story about how we came to be polyamorous? No.
I would love that. Let's hear it. How did we come to
Hey,
it?
Mom. You know, she says, "Well, how did this come about?" Well, Mom,
Yeah.
we were, playing around. We were having sex. Hot sex.
Hot sex.
And Andre said to me, "Oh, Tara," it's like, "Oh, I wish I could have another set of hands. Like, it would be helpful to help me do this very intricate move that I'm doing." And I was like, "Oh yeah, that would be fun." And you were like, "Really?" And I said, "Yeah, that'd be hot." And then it was like, and then we like set up.
We finished it up, and then
finished,
right
and-
after we jumped on the computer,
and
set up a
joint
profile,
and started
the rest
looking.
is history.
I know.
Awesome.
So funny. Now I don't think I'll tell her that story.
I wonder if
I
I've
don't
ever
think
said something like that.
Ew. Oh, I should just get it over with because it's playing on my mind. Maybe that's why I haven't been sleeping the last couple of days.
Maybe you're enjoying not doing. Maybe the tension is fun. The idea
No,
of like
it's
maybe
not
maybe
fun.
you're masochistic and like enjoying.
No,
this.
it's like Diane said, that she says that you're hiding. It's like there might be people that you can support or that are looking for you, but they can't find you because they're like, "Oh, she says she's a relationship coach, but what exactly does she do?
Mhm.
Like, how can that help me?"
Maybe they haven't checked in the closet. Are you hiding in there?
Am I hiding in the closet? Apparently I'm hiding in the closet. So good to talk to you.
And you? It's always good for everybody to talk. Let's do it.
I like how you keep looking at the camera. We were supposed to just have this conversation as we were having it. Do you think we still did?
I think we did. I'm hoping that you heard your answer. Because at one point, when we forgot about the camera, when we forgot about what we were saying, you just said it in a very clear and concise way.
I might have to go back, roll the tape. Go
You-
back through the tape.
You already know. You are already a master. You know what you want to say.
Do I?
Mhm.
What is that? Can you tell me? Whisper it to me.
What would I whisper? What do you think I would say?
Just be you.
Mm-hmm. And in being you, what would you say?
I don't know.
What would you say if you were just talking to me on the couch and trying to explain it to me?
If you were my mother?
Me or your mother or yourself? What would you just say? Give me the synopsis, the recap of it.
Well, it depends on who I was talking to. I don't know. How do you introduce it to people?
How would you say it to me? How would you say it to me if I was your mother?
Hey, Mom. There's something I want to tell you. You may already have figured this out, but I thought it would be good to actually tell you so that because of the work I'm doing right now as a relationship coach, and that Andre and I are in an open relationship. And it's been the most loving and supportive relationship, communicative and honest relationship I've been in my entire life. And it makes me extremely happy, so happy that the thing I want to do is to help other people in similar relationships have that same connection with their partner and partners.
Beautiful.
Is that what I should say?
That could be it.
What do you think about that?
I think it's awesome. I applaud your bravery. I know it's not an easy conversation to have.
It's silly though. It should be.
Well,
It's
perhaps it should be, and perhaps this is.
It's really not a big deal. There's much, harder things people tell people.
Well, it's only hard if we attach the weight of the heaviness to it and make
That's
it hard,
true.
right?
Mm-hmm.
It could be the most automatic and kind of routine thing to say, or yes, we could estimate it to be incredibly difficult. It's an inside job. You'll be able to come to it.
So do you think I should just call, not make a big deal,
I would.
and just make it impromptu?
Yeah, I think also because, like you mentioned, a point, like it sets it up. Do we create an expectation of the other person that it's going to be this big thing that has to be announced? Like, oh my God, she's polyamorous. Like, if we set it up to be nervous, are they going to expect that they should also be nervous or concerned about it? If we say it in a very matter-of-fact, casual way, why can't they accept it that way?
Right.
Even if it's not quite their own estimation. They have their own traditions and expectations and experience, but they're not their parents either.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess I should probably say I wanted to be the one to tell you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because part of the things I'm doing are supporting other people who are in similar non-monogamous relationships.
Right, and before they see you on TV, because you're going to become famous, they're, you want them to get an idea of it.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, my love, for this talk.
Thank you, baby. Should we go have sex?
Maybe.
Okie doo.
Okie doo.